All right, so this episode of the podcast is a special one. Today we don't have business owners on the podcast today, but a father and son duo, Jeff and Dan Connor, are joining us on the podcast today. Thank you guys for being here.
Of course, thank you for having us.
Yeah, thank you for the invitation.
Yeah. So what do you guys do? So you guys have a band. You had a podcast. Tell us a little bit about all that and how that kind of got started.
We started a podcast. Dan is now 19. We started the podcast when he was 12. He originally, like most young people, watched way more YouTube than network television, which was what my generation does. So he kind of turned me on to YouTube. He always kind of had a flair for doing various performances. When he was in elementary school, he did a couple of talent shows where he did stand-up comedy.
I was Elvis once.
He was Elvis once, yeah,
performing
that's true.
blue suede shoes.
So he said, "Dad, we should do a YouTube channel. A YouTube channel is where it's at. You do YouTube."
Yeah.
And so I used to be in radio when I was younger. And we kind of have, as you can tell, maybe a joking personality with each other, a relationship. And so I said, "Son, this face is for radio. It's not for TV. So YouTube or not," I said, "I think we should what do you say about a podcast?" "Okay, we'll do a podcast." So that's what we did. So for, we did 4 seasons of our podcast. How many episodes?
Oh, man, 75, I
Yeah.
think.
Cool.
Yeah. So it ran for a while.
Yeah. We even got our high water mark was when we were the number 2 comedy podcast in Sweden.
Nice.
And so we were, we went out and celebrated.
Yeah.
Super weird statistic, but
Yeah,
it's like, okay, we'll take that.
I'm sure
we'll
with
that.
your podcast metrics, you're like, really?
Yeah.
13 to 16-year-olds actually listen to my show, whatever, And so, we did that for like Dan said, for about 75 episodes, and we had a good time with it. I used to play in a band as well as my radio gig. And so I had guitars around the house, and they were, music instruments everywhere. Dan started taking an interest in that. I started showing him little riffs here and there and things that I knew. And so he picked up the guitar with that, teenage energy that we all used to have.
2017.
Yeah,
That's when you started playing guitar,
Yeah.
2017.
And so he eventually taught himself. And with the advent of YouTube and watching online lessons and, how to play this song properly, where in my day we used to, to have a cassette and we would play it back. Wait, what's that again? And you play it so many times and it becomes out of tune.
Yeah.
Well, I think he's still playing a D, whatever. He had in a lot of cases the actual performers, the David Gilmour of Pink Floyd saying, "This is how you play comfortably numb." Dad, you taught me how to do it this way, but did you know it's
Actually,
he
this way.
said this,
Oh, cool.
and he wrote the dang song, that kind of thing. So he became very quickly better guitar player than I could have ever imagined, even better than my best friend, whose father was the lead guitarist of the Ventures. His name was Jody Moles, and his dad's name was Gene Moles. Anyway, long story short, so he became really, really good.
Cool.
And one thing morphed into another, and then we started this band.
And so when did the band start? And so what led you, when did the band start? And what led you to let's start a band?
3 years ago?
I would say about 3 years ago during COVID, a friend of mine, his parents asked my dad, "Hey, why don't you guys, perform a little something?" And we were like, "Okay, why not?" And so for about, I think, 2 months, we, started doing this, and we slowly got a little bit better. And then our first performance was in my friend's house, and we only played 3 or 4 songs.
Yeah.
But it was like, okay, we kind of got the feel for this now.
About 10 people, family and friends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we're even to this day only a little bit better. No, I'm just joking. So it was fun. And Dan has kind of taken, the music that I exposed him to, and he's really run with it, and he's kind of become. Your musical taste is definitely guitar based.
Oh yeah,
rock based.
Yeah, I'm totally not like the other kids where they I listen to Drake or I listen to Kanye West or stuff like that.
Yeah.
My music taste is very much 70s, 80s, 90s, a little bit of 2000s. But yeah.
So he's that guy in high school.
Is that because of you? Because of like what you enjoy listening to?
Yeah.
Right? So
Yeah.
you picked, yeah.
The origin actually of that is probably when I was about 6 years old, and he gifted me an iPhone 3G. It was this really old phone, like the
Yeah.
little itty bitty iPhones, and it didn't work. You couldn't text or you couldn't take phone calls or anything. But all I could do on it is like watch movies, play games, and listen to my dad's music
Preloaded
library.
music.
Oh, nice.
And so
Which was old dude music.
yeah.
Yeah.
And so I slowly got exposed to that because when I was that age, I had it, and late at night, I was a bad kid. I would stay up late even at 6 years old. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I would just go through the old iTunes thing where it was the album covers and you could just swipe through them. It doesn't. Apple doesn't have it anymore, but you could just swipe through and you could click on it and it would play the album immediately.
Okay.
And so I would just do that every single night, and that's how I would learn all these songs in my head. I'm like, oh, that's a really good song. So I think that's probably the seed
Yeah.
for
where
my
it
music
started.
taste. Yeah.
And then like talk to me about playing the guitar and like picking that up and just from like YouTube, because I've tried to do things I think in my like one of my long-term goals is like learn how to play guitar or a ukulele or something like that. So I have a little ukulele at the house and I've tried to, pick it up and play videos from YouTube and that sort of stuff, but it's not easy.
No.
Right.
Yeah. I remember like the moment when I wanted to pick up the guitar. I remember it was late at night. I was just going
These
through
late at night things keep
Yeah,
coming up.
I know. It's I'm
To this day,
I'm
my
a-
wife and I, like old parents do, we go to sleep earlier, way earlier than
Yeah.
2:00 in the morning.
Yeah,
I'm texting
I'm
Dan, voice.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm totally a night owl. So I'll
Yeah.
play one note and be like, Dan, don't do that.
Yeah.
But I remember the moment I wanted to play guitar is when it was late at night and I was going through YouTube. And I remember how I got here, but I stumbled upon a performance of Pink Floyd's Run Like Hell live in 1994. And it blew my mind because David Gilmour, and I think we can both agree on this, he's the greatest guitar player of all time, right?
Yeah, that's our.
Yeah.
We love him.
And so
Dan
I-
goes to Our Lady of the Holy David Gilmour Church every.
Absolutely.
No.
But I remember watching that video and he was doing these sounds with the guitar with like delay and chorus, and these are all, this is all technical guitar stuff,
Yeah.
but he would do all these crazy sounds and I was like, what the heck? That is amazing. And ever since that video, I was like, I gotta learn how to play guitar. So that's definitely where it stemmed from.
Yeah. And was it easy for you to just pick it up and like learn from the YouTube videos or?
I would say it was kind of 50-50 because it was easy in that I had the motivation because I was like, when I wake up in the morning, I'm just going straight to the guitar.
Yeah.
But it was hard because, you got to learn all these chord shapes and it definitely takes a while. And most people would, give up because, this is too hard or something like that. But I had that motivation to just keep me going and keep
doing
learning.
it, yeah.
And so I persevered and I got really good
His
at
mom
it.
and I call it OCD.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's definitely where my guitar playing came from.
Yeah. Well, I think you just hit on something that's like important too for anybody that's kind of growing up or just starting a business or whatever, and just like perseverance, right?
Absolutely.
I think that's the only difference that the people that make it and the people that don't, right? The ones that the kids that wanted to play guitar and it came hard and then they just gave up, right? But
Right.
you stuck with it.
Exactly.
And now you can, play guitar and do what you do. Yeah, that's pretty cool. So what does music mean for you guys?
Oh,
I can't live without it.
Yeah.
It's in our DNA.
Yeah.
I grew up in Bakersfield, California, which is a big country music bastion.
Okay.
And the Bakersfield, California is literally where Route 66 ended. And the Grapes of Wrath, the old black and white movie, that was basically where they were headed to seek prosperity in California. That eventually became what's known as Nashville West.
Okay.
So I grew up, with literally the bars and the honky tonks and Buck Owens and Merle Haggard and, the streets of Bakersfield with Dwight Yoakam and all that. That was, everywhere. We were just saturated in it. And, being rebellious kid, as all teenagers in some degree go to.
Yeah.
I didn't gravitate necessarily towards country music until later in life when the modern music drifted away. It's almost like that political party I didn't leave the political party. That political party left me.
Yeah.
That whole thing. Music kind of left me, and I wasn't so much in tune to the rap and the hip hop and, that kind of the modern computerized music.
Sure.
And so, I drifted more towards rock, and I became more of a metalhead when I was a kid. And then you expand and you appreciate what the Beatles are doing, and then from the Beatles, pretty much every band pretty much sprung forth from that tree. And so it was all around us all the time. Dan, growing up, would see me in my office, my home office that I had, that I would be learning riffs and I would be playing stuff, and we would have friends over for parties and stuff, and we would do little mini talent shows, and I would always do something with that. So I think just organically, again, Dan just kind of picked up on all that whole environment, and then it kind of infected him in that way too.
Yeah, later in life, yeah.
Yeah, I like that. So just being around it, right,
Yeah.
at a young age.
Mm-hmm.
It's you reach a saturation point.
Yeah.
And then you got to do something with this passion.
Yeah.
So what do I do now? You always have these nighttime dreams of, I'll be a rock star. I want to be on stage and have bras thrown at me and all that whole kind of thing. But what are you going to do? So it's
Right.
like, Dan, go for it. I'll show you what I know.
Yeah.
And then you take it from there.
Yeah. So when did you learn to play guitar?
When I had my first bra thrown at me. No, I'm just kidding. This irreverent rock and roll humor, right?
Yeah.
So I learned to play when I always wanted to. My parents were dirt poor. I mean, we used to joke that my parents literally were the grapes of wrath people. We were poor white trash Okies from the day I was born.
Yeah.
I was lucky, if I got a Kmart guitar.
Yeah.
That kind of thing. So one day my dad did get me a guitar. And that was a big deal for him. So I learned a little bit on that. And then when I was 16, I got into an auto accident. Nothing really super serious, but the insurance company in 1980 gave me $1,000. Wow, $1,000, 1980. Man, I'm rolling. What am I going to do? So I knew in my personality that if I made a financial commitment and I was going to go out and buy a $600 guitar, and I'm going to get an amp to go with it. And I was like, I better learn how to do this.
Yeah.
So that's when I started, was when I was 16. My friend at the time, as I mentioned, was, the son of the lead guitarist for The Ventures, all that surf rock music in the 1950s and 60s. Yeah. And so I made a deal with him. Hey, I'll give you $50 a month for 50 guitar lessons, and I'll give you my first guitar. Deal. So we just started, he showed me things, and one thing led to another. He was already playing in a band. Okay, I got up to enough speed so that I could play the last rhythm guitarist at the edge of the stage, and then you just kind of learn and learn and learn. And as bands inevitably form and break up, then he's like, well, we should do something now. Well, except we need a singer. Who's stupid enough to get up on stage and sing? Jeff, you do it. And so that's how I started doing that. And so it just grew from there.
Okay. So what do you like more? Do you like singing, or do you like playing the guitar, or an instrument?
I picked up the bass because Dan, like I said, became a great guitar player, better than I am. So we needed to have a bass player. So I knew basic bass, and so I picked up the bass. So I think my thing is just I like being performing on stage with him.
Cool.
It's just the thrill,
Yeah.
and it's a really weird sensation when you're on stage and you look over and, oh my God, there's my son.
Yeah.
It's a freaky feeling. You just can't describe it. Because I played in bands before, and I looked over at the guy next to me, and I hated that guy.
Yeah.
But I got to do this gig. We have a contractual commitment to do this out, and then we go our separate ways. Well, for him, I have this inherent father-son love.
Yeah.
We have a fun time anyway doing it. We speak the same language. We can kind of look at each other almost like a married couple.
Right.
And so that's what I kind of like the most, is just looking over, being on stage. And then, of course, once you're there, and, we talked about this in the beginning for our band. Look, son, I'm old. I'm a middle-aged dude. You're going to be the hot young thing. It's like the old Men in Black 2, Tommy Lee Jones and Will Smith back and forth.
Yeah.
Old and busted, hot and fresh.
Yeah.
I was old and busted. He was the hot and fresh. And eventually, as you get more comfortable, we'll kind of change roles, and you take the center stage. the girls will be looking at you. Everything's going to be kind of synergy. And then I'll take that back, that backstage presence, and I'll just be there to support whatever happens. I'll just do that.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of how we do it, and kind of how we have our relationship, and how much I personally enjoy it. It's funny just for me to kind of sit in the back now, and he's at the piano singing a Coldplay song, or he's playing guitar and he's actually singing a song, and I see the reactions from the people in the crowd, because I'm not doing much at that point. I'm just playing my bass lines, or maybe a little ooh ah, that kind of thing, and to see that reaction, and it's just kind of fun.
That's cool. You just have like a front row seat to it all, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's almost like when your son is a football player, and he carries the ball across the goal line or hits a home run. Yeah, that's my son.
Yeah.
Except I'm on stage.
Right.
It's like, hey, you hit that note for once. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. And and so you hear the cheers of the crowd, and everybody's kind of looking at him. And I had my day in the sun, and this is his day in the sun, and it's fun. You feel that on-stage proudness right with him.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. And to be a part of that, and the bond that you guys have too. I know we briefly touched on that before, but yeah, it's pretty cool. What does it mean to you to be able to play with your dad? And
it's very cool. It's very different, because you wouldn't normally you don't see that every day. A father and a son playing on stage.
Yeah.
So yeah, just like he said, when I look over to my left and he's there playing the bass, it's kind of like, oh, this is really cool. So it's a very
that
fun.
Old dude still got it. No, I'm kidding.
But yeah, it's a very fun and unique thing, and I'm glad that we're able to make it happen.
Yeah. And so you guys started playing at a friend's house. Where are you guys playing now? Are you still playing at friends' houses, or what do you?
No, we've been blessed. We've played various venues. Most notable come to mind is we did a museum opening for the House of Shadows. That was about
about a year and a half ago.
Yeah, that was last May 2021. In fact, we did that. That was fun because it was a big crowd. Then we did the Coalition of Hispanic Artists a year ago, last Halloweenish time.
Okay.
And Dan was actually given a grant from the Coalition of Hispanic Artists, so we're technically been grandfathered into. We're Hispanic artists, in case you didn't know.
Yeah.
And so that was a lot of fun, because it was a really big place with the biggest crowd I think we ever played in front of, and so and a few other things that I can't come to mind. But we played various places, and we've done our share of the backyard parties, and we haven't done the wedding singer thing yet. Okay. Who knows if that'll happen after the let's get these guys to sing at our wedding.
Yeah.
Shameless promotion. No, I'm just kidding. But so we've done a few things like that, and we're kind of taking a break for now because of the holiday season, and it's just kind of a downtime and stuff. We played the last event we played. How long ago was?
I would say in August we played one of our friends' grand opening for some exhibition, and it was very cool.
Yeah, I'm drawing a blank, but his name is Estragos Digante. He's a terrific body painter and body painter, and so he was having a fashion show. And I'm just drawing a blank.
Okay.
We can't tell him that I forgot about what the name of his show was.
We'll
but
edit
it's
it
kind of
back
like
in
Nude
there.
Night,
Yeah.
but it's how Tampa has Nude Night every year.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a step below that. It's trying to get to that level, and they had various performers and fashion body taping and body painting and that kind of thing. And we performed there as well.
Cool.
That was fun. That was a lot of fun. It was something I had to prep Dan for, because I said, okay, we've been to these shows because we're friends of his, and even his mom, my wife, has appeared in these body taping and body painting things, and has done modeling for him in magazines and that kind of thing. It's like, okay, so this is what you're going to experience. It's going to be a little different than you've ever encountered, but we'll like I do with everything, we'll laugh about it and it'll be fun.
Yeah.
And just and so we had a fun time. That was fun. That was probably cool. Maybe one of the funnest, because it was just so.
It was really funny. Yeah.
Yeah. It was so absurdly fun.
Yeah, and just different than.
It's almost like, and I haven't done this, and I don't think I ever will. It's almost like going to a strip club with your mom and dad.
Yeah.
It's like, that's just kind of half weird.
Right.
But it didn't get weird because it was just a job.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And you guys were playing music.
And we had fun.
Exactly. Yeah.
So how often do you guys play at different venues or friends' houses or?
I would say every few months, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
about every few months.
Cool.
He's got his college studies. I own my own business as well, and so we have those obligations. But in between, we kind of cram in this, and we don't push it too hard. We make it enjoyable.
Yeah.
So whenever we're asked, we generally, we'll do it.
Yeah.
2 guys in a truck and our guitars.
There you go.
Yeah.
I like it. So a couple things before we wrap up. One thing I like to do is ask everybody, who lives here, obviously, and you guys do, and obviously being a local podcast, I want to know what your favorite local spot is, whether it's in Palm Harbor or just the around, So if you had to pick, you're going out to eat dinner or you just want to do something for yourself, where are you guys going?
I would say Sam Ash, probably.
Sam Ash?
Yeah.
Nice.
What
I
about
like
you?
One of our favorite spots is, like I said, we like the House of Shadows. We like a store of our friends, Digante Art and Thrift down in St. Pete. Here in Palm Harbor,
Where's House of Shadows?
House of Shadows is on Kennedy, close to Fox 13 News.
Oh, okay.
I think it's a little east of that. I think so. West or east. But anyway, it's in that area. And so, but here in Palm Harbor, I think our favorite place is got to be, it's a newer Mexican restaurant, Ya Se Armo.
Oh, yeah.
It's pretty much where the LA Fitness is on the
Yeah.
corner of Alderman, southwest corner of Alderman and 19.
Mm-hmm.
And my wife is real Mexican, just not the,
Yeah, 100%.
not the East LA Cheech and Chong
Yeah.
type Mexican. She's a real thing. So authentic Mexican food is a big deal for us. And so that's probably the best Mexican restaurant, even more than, I think, Miguel's or, downtown Tampa is like a famous spot.
Okay.
But Ya Se Armo on 19 is our favorite thing. We probably go there at least once a week.
Nice. So we've ordered pickup from there before.
Mm-hmm.
We have not been able to go in and sit down and eat there, but yeah, it was good, and I've heard great things about that spot too.
Nice spot.
Yeah. All right. So lastly, you guys you prepared a song that you
No,
want to
no,
perform?
not at all. Yeah, we're actually going
You
to play.
have to.
This is maybe the first song we ever learned.
Oh, yeah. This is the first song that me and him ever decided, you know what, this is one of the songs we're going to play.
Cool.
And it's Everybody Wants to Rule the World by Tears for Fears.
Cool. Very cool.
Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3, 4.
Welcome to your life. There's no turning back. Even while we sleep, we will find you
Acting on your best behavior. Turn your back on Mother Nature. Everybody wants to rule the world.
Oh, it's my own design. It's my own remorse. Help me to decide. Help me make the most of freedom and of pleasure. Nothing ever lasts forever. Everybody wants to rule the. There's a room where the light won't find you. Holding hands while the walls come tumbling down. When they do, I'll be right behind you. So glad we almost made it. So sad they have to fade it. Everybody wants to rule the world. All for freedom and for pleasure. Nothing ever lasts forever. Everybody wants to rule the world. Clap, 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 clap.
Awesome.
Thank
Thank you
you.
guys for being here.
Of
Thank
course.
for
Thank you
having
very
us. We
much.
appreciate it.